Hey guys, please check out StoneAgeGamer.com. It's where I go for my gaming accessories and games. It's got some great stuff. So check out StoneAgeGamer.com, link below. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is John with Gamester81.com. This episode, I'll show you some recent game pickups I've made. Over 50 games on 19 platforms. And these are games I picked up in the last 2-3 months. I'm going to start with talking about some recent console games I picked up for modern consoles. I haven't picked up too many. I picked up the last PC game I got on Steam was called Game Dev Tycoon. It's a lot of fun actually. Basically the whole idea is it's like a sim game. You start in your own garage, you develop games for like the Apple IIc, the Commodore 64, and you evolve into creating games for modern consoles. So you have to decide what game you want to produce, what you want to title it, how you're going to market it, and then you get reviews, and depending on how the reviews get, you get money, and obviously the better reviews, the more money you get. It's a lot of fun. Definitely check it out. You can get it for fairly cheap. I haven't picked up any PS4 games. Just haven't seen an interest of any exclusive PS4 games that I've really wanted. If it comes to the game coming out for both PS4 and Xbox One, I'll tend to gravitate towards Xbox One just because of the controller, and I like the online interface a bit better than the PS4. But I have picked up some Xbox One games. First one is Watch Dogs. Game is okay. It's by Ubisoft. It's a sandbox game, kind of like similar to Grand Theft Auto. You can hack things to your cell phone. I like the concept. I like the idea, but it does get very repetitive. That's the only thing I don't like about it. The next one is Destiny. This is by Bungie, the same group that did Halo series. I came into this thinking this was going to be an awesome game. I know it's super hyped. It's a good game, don't get me wrong, but man, this game gets really repetitive, really quick. I'm probably like 8 hours into it, and what gets frustrating is the boss battles get really frustrating because they heal too quickly, and you have to, by the time you reload, their heals back, which is kind of a bummer. But definitely graphics are beautiful, and it's a game, if you're a big fan of Halo, you probably should check out. Not a bad game, just not a great game in my book. Last one I picked up for the Xbox One, just got this recently, it was Far Cry 4. This is by Ubisoft. Big fan of Far Cry 3. And I loved the fact that in Far Cry 3, the story just engaged you from the very beginning. This one is a lot slower starting point. I'm probably 8 hours into this game, and probably the first 3 hours, I'm wondering why am I even here on this island or in India, wherever I am. It's not bad. I like the co-op aspect of it. I'm not a huge online player. I don't like the fact that you have to sign online to play, which is kind of a bummer. But it's a fun. I mean, the graphics are great. You have to outpost it. There's a whole bunch of different side missions. And it is getting like 8 hours into it. It is getting more interesting. But it is a lot slower to get into it than the Far Cry 3. So just keep that in mind. The next game I want to point out is a homebrew game. I've got quite a few homebrew games I'm going to show you. This is Fix It Felix Jr. for the Genesis. This never came out officially for the Genesis, but it's based on Wreck-It Ralph, the arcade game, or the movie, which is based on the arcade game that never came out, which this is now, if that makes sense. But it basically is, it's a really fun, it harkens back to like the Donkey Kong game, or even games like Wrecking Crew, if you remember that. It's kind of like that. So you basically go onto a building, Wreck-It Ralph is breaking his windows. You're Fix It Felix Jr. You're supposed to repair these windows while he's dropping stuff on you, and there's a whole bunch of obstacles. It's a lot of fun, really good port for the Genesis actually. Next one is Millipede for the Atari 2600. A lot of fun. I never owned this before. I paid a couple dollars for it. It's a sequel to Centipede. There's new enemies, a lot faster pace. Graphically, it's okay. It's for the Atari 2600, but it ports really well to the system. Definitely a must-own for that system. Speaking of homebrews, I picked this up at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. This is Mother 3. This is part of the Earthbound, for those who know Earthbound, Mother series is in Japan. This is a fan translation, English translation of the game. Really high quality production value. $40, not bad. Been really wanting to play this. I picked this up a couple weeks ago. I haven't had an opportunity to play it quite yet. I'm going to finish Far Cry 4 and I'm going to dive into this. I love the RPG elements, of course, and I'm really excited to play this. I'm really glad I picked it up. Other portable games I picked up were Super Return of the Jedi for the Game Gear. This is same ported to the Super Nintendo, Super Return of the Jedi. You can play as Luke, Han, Chewbacca, Leia. There's Force you can use for Luke, and it's a great port. I prefer the Super Nintendo version, but as far as on the go, it's not a bad port. Next one is Indiana Jones Last Crusade. Paid $4 for it by US Gold. This has been ported to a whole bunch of different consoles, NES, Genesis included. It's based loosely on the movie, of course. You play as Indiana Jones, you have a whip as a weapon. It's a platforming game. Graphically, it's okay. Music's not great. It's a decent game, definitely worth checking out. $4, not a bad deal. I've been picking up a lot of Lynx games, actually. I've been wanting to complete my collection of Lynx games because I think Lynx is one of the most underrated handhelds out there. And the first one I want to point out is Robotron 2014. I had no idea this game came out for the Lynx. When I saw it, I was shocked. The label even looks different. I thought it might have been like a homebrew, but it's a legit game. It plays just like the arcade. The controls actually work really well on the Lynx. If you haven't played the arcade, definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and it's a pretty decent port for the Lynx. Next one is Crystal Mines 2. This is exclusive to the Lynx. This is a sequel to Crystal Mines that came out for the NES in 1989, I believe. This one came out in 1991. The guy who worked on this, Ken Beckett, he actually worked for Color Dreams Company and left to work for Wisdom Tree. It's actually plays very similar to games like Dig Dug or Mr. Do. If you play games like that, it's a puzzle game. So that's a lot of fun too. Turbo Sub is a game for Lynx based on arcade. It's a first person. You're in a submarine. You can go underwater. You can go on top, shoot airplanes and stuff. Not bad. It's a fun arcade game. Not a great port for Lynx. Still, it's pretty decent. Another arcade port is Zybots. This is kind of, think of it like a first person maze, but it's not really first person. It's actually third person, but you get around in a maze. It's a shooter. Think of like Contra, those stages where you're like, after the first level, you're in there behind looking at the guy, and it's kind of like that for a game. It's not bad. It's actually pretty fun. NFL Football for Lynx. This is a licensed game. NFL teams. Definitely better than NFL Football for the Game Boy, of course. It's in color. The screen's placed vertically. It's not bad. I've played better football games, to be honest. Rygar, another Lynx game I picked up, paid a couple of dollars for, based on the arcade. This is by Temco. It's an adventure game. You're this warrior with a sword, and it's a platforming game. A lot of fun. Scrap Your Dog, not a great game. I think this is an exclusive to the Lynx. You're this kid who's in this junkyard or scrapyard, and you can throw cans for weapons, and there's dogs, and there's all these enemies and obstacles, and I think the controls aren't very good, the music sucks, and the graphics, frankly, aren't great at all. Definitely not a good Lynx game that I recommend. Doesn't do the system justice. Last portable game I picked up was Malibu Beach Volleyball. This is a lot of fun too. I paid $4 for this with boxing game. The reason I already had the game, but the reason I wanted it was because of the box. You don't find many original Game Boy game boxes. This is by Activision, came out in 1989, and the box just screams 80s. It's a 4-player game, volleyball game, pretty simplistic, but I remember playing this back in the day. A lot of fun doing it. Racing game I picked up for the N64 is Roadster. This plays kind of similar to Cruis'n USA. There's a lot of racing games on the N64. A lot of them get lost in the shuffle. This is a decent one. I paid $8 for it. It's not too bad of a deal. Not the best racing game on the system, not the worst. It's pretty average, to be honest with you. The music's okay, gameplay's, and it's for $8 or under. Definitely check it out, but any more than that, I'd pass. Another racing game. This one's for the Dreamcast. This is Looney Tunes Space Race, based on Looney Tunes characters. It plays Daffy Duck and a whole bunch of other ones, characters from the Looney Tunes. That's a pretty fun racing game. I'm not sure who did it. Info Games looks like is the developer. It looks like there's you can play as 8 different characters. There's opponents. There's a battle. You can challenge a friend. Up to 4 players. It's pretty cool. Not a bad game. I paid $20 for it, which may be a little bit too much. Going on to some PlayStation games, another racing game for PS1, Hooters Road Trip. I picked this up because it says Hooters. It's based on the restaurant chain. Thinking, oh, it's going to be decent. How bad can it be? There's going to be cutscenes with Hooter girls. It's terrible. I definitely don't recommend it. It's Ubisoft. Music's bad. The gameplay's broken. It's kind of like Cruis'n USA meets Hooter girls, which is terrible. It's just, I'm really surprised they released this game. I paid like $4 for it. Star Trek Invasion is a game that came out for the PS1. It's set in the time frame of like next gen. Uses some of the voice actors come back and reprise a role for this game. It's like Wing Commander, but Star Trek. It's a really fun space shooter. I paid $6 for it. It's a pretty common game. But if you like Wing Commander, you like Star Trek, you may enjoy this game. Okay, now on to, here's the 3DO game I picked up. This is another space shooter. This is Starblade. This is kind of, I paid $8 for it. It's hard to find these long box 3DO games, which is pretty cool. So it's complete. It comes with the long box, it comes with the jewel case inside. When I played this, it reminds me a lot of Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. And you look at this, and you're like, wow, this is supposed to be 32-bit. It's kind of surprising. It's got the polygon graphics. It's not a bad game. It's all preset, pre-rendered, your course, where you go and where you move and stuff, where you shoot and whatever, but not a bad game. It's actually based on an arcade game by Namco. It's supported by Namco. Moving on to the original Xbox games, I got Superman the Man of Steel by Atari, paid $15 for it. The game's okay. I know that Superman gets a lot of heat, especially for the N64. This game is definitely a lot better than the N64 version. You play as Superman. The protagonist, or the enemy in this game is Brainiac. You need to save the city. You can use all your abilities as Superman to do that, but it's okay. It's only exclusive to the Xbox. Another game is Celebrity Deathmatch. I paid $6 for this. This is based on the MTV show, Celebrity Deathmatch, which came out, in the 90s and stuff. And you get different characters like Mr. T and Anna Nicole Smith. And this was a lot of fun to play two-player. It's a wrestling game, basically, and the graphics are okay, and it's actually a lot of fun to play, and I actually enjoy this game. Especially played two-player. Next Xbox game is Gauntlet 7 Sorrows. This is plays like Gauntlet, obviously, which plays like Diablo. If you haven't played Gauntlet before, there's different class characters. You can play online at the time. Obviously, the online's offline now. Graphics are okay. It's not my favorite Gauntlet game. I think Gauntlet Legends is better than this, but if you like Gauntlet, you like these style games, this is one definitely check out. This is a PS2 game now. This is Star Wars Racer Revenge. I had no idea this game came out. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm ashamed to say that, but there's Star Wars Racer, which came out for pod racing, which the arcades and Dreamcast. This is a sequel to that. You play as a pod racer. There's different races. There's new, there's creators of ATV, Off-Road Fury did this game. There's new courses, different experience. Paid $16 for it. It's not bad. Definitely one to check out for the PS2. Well, guys, that concludes part 1 of my game pickups. I'll put a link to part 2 below. You can check it out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to stay in touch, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as my website, Gamester81.com, where I'll link, have new news and exclusive reviews and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and happy gaming. Take care.